Hi, everyone. My name is Bronson Tykert. I work for the marketing team for the College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences here at USU. That includes the Nutrition, Dietetics, and Food Sciences department. Most of what I do is create marketing videos for the programs in the college, marketing videos, photos, content that we need for our websites, for ads, print materials, and I also manage all the social media platforms for the College of Ag as well. And all of those social media platforms that includes Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, all the good stuff. YouTube, if you want to count that one as well. But today we're going to be concentrating mostly on Instagram and Instagram Reels. And hopefully I can relate that to you guys as much as possible um, as nutrition or dietetics students with those kinds of backgrounds and what you would use or how you would use Instagram Reels as a tool with that kind of background. So we'll just hop right into it. I'm going to kind of show you just on my personal page. I use it to experiment a lot. I do a lot of like my own family stuff. I do some landscape photography. Um, anyway, so I'll just be kind of using my personal page to show you some of these things first. Um, and I'm going to try and kind of peel this back in a few layers. Um, so I imagine most of you have posted a reel before, but if you haven't, we're just going to go over the very basics first, and then we'll kind of go deeper as we go. So just to post a reel, it's really easy. There's a plus button at the top right here, or this plus button in the bottom in the middle. And so if we just press this one in the top right, you can say create a reel. You can either record yourself. The camera is going to automatically pop open, and I know it's just lovely to see your own face. And I am never the face of the College of Ag, so I don't ever record myself. But you guys will most likely be you're the face of whatever you're doing. So that is an option. However, if you have already created a video, you've made a video, just stuck your phone up and you've made a video and that's in your photo library, you can go to the bottom left of your screen and you'll find some of the recent things that you've done. So I'm going to use an example of a welcome back video from the College of Ag Center we did last fall. So I'm just going to select this here. So here he is. It's just a talking head. And I imagine if you have some interesting information to add as a nutrition expert, it might be just a talking head. You might not include any footage, and that's totally okay. Um, so once you've added that, you would just press next. Make sure everything looks good. Next. And you would write a caption, whatever you want to say about your video. Okay. And then you would just press share. All right. That's the very basics of sharing a reel. A lot of people do it all the time. Some people feel intimidated by doing it to just try and do that. So it's not super complicated, but those are just the basics of starting over. All right. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into it. So let's say that we want to still use that, just that talking person. That talking person has some useful information. What we would want to do is go back to the same place, add that or press that plus button, create a reel, and then we can go ahead and select that same video again. All right. So let's say we also want to add some music. So top one here, we have The Mandalorian. All right. So if you add that, it's just going to replace the song over what he's talking about. And of course, we want to hear what he has to say. So we can add that and then next. Okay, so that's obviously we can't hear what he's saying, so we want to fix that. So at the top, we can press this music note here again, and it's going to give us some audio options. And we can bring this music down. and then we can bring his
We
audio
also
out.
have Cast Week coming up, which is an
Okay.
awesome event. It's a full week just full of events, and we're going to do that the night.
All right, so we're good there. Another good idea, a lot of people like to watch reels with the sound off. And so captions on the video make that really easy. And Instagram has a pretty good tool now to do that. So what you're going to want to do is at the top of your screen here, you're going to see, let me turn this down. You're going to see this little face in the square icon right here. I'm not sure else how to explain it. So you're going to press that little face, and the top left, you're going to see captions. Now it's going to take a minute to transcribe that audio, and it usually does pretty good, but you're going to have to go in most likely and edit a few words. All right. So what you do if you want to edit those words, so you just click on it and you can see all the words here. All right. And everything's looking pretty good except for this. He's talking about, I'm this year's Cass senator. So instead of cast, we want to put Cass. All right. And you would just want to go through and make sure everything's spelled correctly. Now, you can pinch the text here, make it smaller or bigger. You can also move it around. You can put it up in the corner, wherever you think. This particular video, obviously the text at the bottom is distracting, and so you most likely wouldn't have that. So once you have your music where you want it and your captions where you want it, go ahead and press next. Okay, so we're here, and if you are an expert and you have a lot of information to offer, you're most likely going to want to have a thumbnail that describes the video. And so I've made a simple one in Canva. Canva is a really good tool for things like this. So if you want to add a thumbnail, you would just say edit cover. And it's going to give you an option. You can either select some point in the video, or if you've already made a thumbnail, you can just add from camera roll. So I made this one just real quick in Canva, weeks of welcome events. Obviously that W is kind of cut off there, but just for the sake of an example, this is something that you can do. So once you've added your thumbnail, go ahead and press done. And then you would want to write your caption. Now, I usually don't like to write my caption right in Instagram because it limits your keyboard a little bit. So usually what I like to do is either write a caption in my notes app on my phone or my Google Docs app on my phone. So I've written a caption here, and I usually just select the whole thing, copy, go back over, paste. It's just way easier if you want to add like bullet points, if you want to add, it's way easier to paragraph down in the Notes app rather than doing it in the Instagram app. Okay, so then we should all be good to go. And if you want to like tag people, there's an option. You can add locations, things like that. Some of these other things aren't as important for you guys right now. So a few things that I wanted to talk about. We've got a little bit more in depth of how to create a reel with some music and with some captions. But as content goes, I just wanted to talk to you guys about what are some good tips for experts like yourselves to consider. So reels are meant to be short and simple. That's just the way people's attention spans are nowadays. And so you want to make sure that your message is clear and concise. You want to focus probably just on one topic per video. And I know sometimes like you're going to want to be organized and have some bullet points to talk about, because you can go off on a lot of tangents and really lose people that way. So try and stick to one topic. And plus, that just gives you other ideas for other videos too. It really helps to have visually appealing content, especially nowadays. People's expectations are higher and higher. So even if it is just you, a talking head, usually being in a well-lit room, um, and having, making sure that the lens is clean on your camera phone or on your phone camera, if that's what you're using, just making sure that everything looks crisp and clear. Don't use my example right now. This is a very poorly lit room, so I'm kind of being a hypocrite. So don't pay attention to my room right now. Anyway, um, you want to use captions to convey your message as much as possible. For obviously a lot of like the landscape reels that I do, doesn't make sense because I just have music over it. But if there's an expert who's giving um, good advice, talking about a specific topic, those captions are great because people do like to watch reels with the sound off, and so that's definitely a good thing to include. You want to um, offer something. So a lot of times you see people go off on rants. That's totally fine, but it's always nice to offer something to that people can learn and can gain and can use in their lives. And whether that's nutrition tips, recipes, other educational content that followers will find informative is definitely a good way to go. And you definitely want to stay on top of the trends too. I know that diets are always a hot topic to talk about. So that's definitely something to stay on top of, obviously in your own field. But then there are also a lot of trends in the social media world too. And unfortunately, it does take a little bit of time, but you'll see a lot of trends in social media on certain music, certain sounds to use, and that will help you gain traction when you are creating content for Instagram Reels. And you definitely just want to have fun. You want to let people see your personality and know a little bit more about you. It's, a lot of the people you follow, it's not just because of the content that they put out there, but the way they do it. And you really feel like you get to know someone when you show your personality. So that's definitely something to include. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the caption. Um, like the reel itself, you want to keep the caption short and sweet for the most part. There are times where you can offer more information in the caption, but for the most part, you want to keep it pretty quick. Um, you want to try and hook your audience with the first sentence, and that's going to grab their attention and entice them to watch the video. A lot of people do ask about hashtags. You can include them. Don't do too many, but I wouldn't worry too much about those. I mean, as a user, you have to think about how many times do you actually click on a hashtag. At least for me, I don't usually click on a hashtag. And all the experts that I follow or talk to aren't really concentrating on hashtags a lot. So that's definitely a common question that you don't really have to worry about. Um, you want to add context. So provide context for your reel by including a brief explanation of what viewers can see in the video. Um, and one thing that people always forget to do is usually a call to action. So you want to try and avoid cliches as much as possible. But that can be hard. But a call to action would be, follow me if you haven't, tag a friend, leave a comment, things like that. You can kind of go off of those lines, but try and avoid those cliches as much as possible. Um, Depending on what the caption is or what the topic is, you're gonna have to just figure out on your own whether it's appropriate or not to use emojis. I like to use emojis as much as possible. So that's definitely an option. And you're definitely going to want to proofread before posting. Make sure to proofread your captions before posting to avoid any typos or errors, especially since you're an expert in your area. One little typo, something that's not grammatically correct, often reflects on you as an expert. So that's another reason why I like to type up the captions in my Notes app or in my Google Docs app before proofread it and then copy and paste that over. Usually for all the College of Ag pages, we always have two sets of eyes look at a caption just to be safe. There are a lot of good tools though that you can use for that. One of them is Grammarly. It's free. You can type something up, paste it into Grammarly, and see if everything's looking okay, if spelling's okay, if your grammar is correct. So that's definitely an option. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is coming up with content. That can be something that's very intimidating or might seem like it's time consuming. And so some of the tips that I have is, sometimes when you're driving, sometimes when you do have a minute to think and you're thinking about ideas for reels or ideas for content, if something comes up, just write it down. Have a Google Doc or something in your notes. Just write that idea down as they come in your head. That's the one of the biggest things that I can give. The other thing too is like I do know that most people do spend a lot of time on social media, and Instagram Reels is a good way to waste a lot of time. However, when you manage a lot of pages like I do, I've tried to get into the habit of thinking about how I could reuse some of those ideas that are out there. Or if you see a trend happening in a lot of the reels that people are posting, um, save some of those ideas. And one thing I wanted to show you is a good tool in Instagram on saving ideas. So if you go to your personal page here, you can go up here to the top right, and on the menu you'll see this saved button about halfway down here. And what I've done is I've created a bunch of folders. So I have audio, and there's going to be one with all posts. I have reel templates, photography, some hiking locations, things like that. And so these are a bunch of ideas that I've had. And so usually how that comes. So if I go to, and I'm just looking at a bunch of reels, let's say I like, something here. Let's say I see that this is a template. You can see this use template thing right here in the bottom left. So I'm going to save that using this button and save to collection. And I can save it in this folder that I've made. And if you want to make a folder, you just use that plus button. So save it here. And then if you want to go back to see you're saved, should be right in that folder. Okay. So one thing that's really easy, if you do come upon a reel that does have that template already made for you, that's a really easy way to make a quick edit. So for example, let's say I really like this one. I see that it has a template already made, so I can click use template. And then here, that's the duration of each of the clips. So I can add some photos or videos from my photo library to these templates. So I would add media. I got some fun family photos here that we can add. We still have a few more here. There we go. All right, so once you have all the photos selected that it has set up for you, you just press this button at the bottom right, and it's going to generate a reel for you. And when I'm in a hurry and I don't want to spend a lot of time editing a reel, I like to use these templates because it's just super quick. So then you just go next, make sure everything's where you want it. And there you go. And you can write the caption, change the cover, whatever you want to do there. Those are a few tips that you can consider when you're creating reels or coming up with content as an expert, as a nutritionist, as a dietitian, or anything like that. So hopefully this helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Teacher should have my information. So thanks. Have a good one.